A render got stuck, my system noticed, and it retried and healed itself before I even opened my laptop. This week taught me something about what it actually means to build an autonomous workforce, and the lesson is not what I expected. Let me set the scene. I am building a system that produces content at scale without me touching it. Faceless reels, podcast studio videos, talking head clips, captions, LinkedIn posts, the whole stack. The goal is zero daily operator intervention. The machine just runs. But machines break. And the question I had to answer this week was not how do I prevent breaks. The question was, how does the system respond when it breaks at 2 a.m. and I am asleep? That is a different problem. That is an infrastructure problem. And this week, I had to actually solve it. Here is where the week started. I had renders getting stuck. Not crashing, not throwing errors, just stuck. The Higgsfield and Kling video generation calls would go out, the API would not respond cleanly, and the ticket would sit there like a frozen cursor. Nobody touching it. No retry. No alert. Just stuck. The first thing I did was the wrong thing. I went in manually, killed the ticket, restarted the render. That is not building an autonomous workforce. That is being a babysitter with extra steps. So I stopped and asked the real question. Why did it get stuck in the first place? And what would a good system do about it automatically? The root cause was transient failures. The API was not down, it was just slow or flaky in that moment. The system had no retry logic. It fired once, heard nothing, and froze. Fix number 1 was adding transient retry with a real timeout per job so no ticket can sit in limbo forever. But then I found something worse hiding underneath. When I dug into what was actually stuck, I found tickets that were not just waiting on a retry. They were stuck because of a deeper structural issue I had ignored for weeks. Script lines were too long. The video generation model I use for clips has roughly a 10-second budget per clip. Some of my lines were writing to 15 or 16 seconds of content. The model would try to render, hit the limit, silently truncate, and the output was just cut off. No error, no flag, just a clip that ends mid-sentence. I had been patching this downstream, adding headroom, fiddling with retry parameters, but none of that fixes the actual problem. The problem was that the scriptwriter was writing lines longer than the clip budget allowed. So I fixed it at the source. The scriptwriter now caps each line to fit the clip budget at write time. No re-renders needed, no downstream patches. The constraint lives where the content is born, not where it fails. That is the lesson a lot of builders miss. When something breaks repeatedly at step 7, the fix usually lives at step 2. Go upstream or keep paying the tax forever. While I was fixing the stuck renders, I found another failure mode that was costing me real money, and I had not noticed it. I had a held mic video lane where the system was generating cling plates, the background video for when a speaker holds a mic, at a flat 10 seconds every single time. 10 seconds, regardless of how long the actual line was. A 2-second line got a 10-second plate. A 4-second line got a 10-second plate. I was burning generation credits on silence. The fix was simple once I saw it. Size the plate to the line, not to a flat number. A 2-second line gets a 2-second plate. That one change cuts the cost on that lane by roughly 40%. 40% cheaper on that lane just from looking at what I was actually generating versus what I actually needed. I also found that the mic presence gate was wrong. The system was checking for a cordless mic only. So when a re-render came through with a held mic, the gate missed it and dropped the mic entirely from the shot. Fix the gate to check for mic presence in general, not just one mic type. Small bug, real visible output failure. The kind of thing you only catch when you are watching your own content with fresh eyes and something looks off. Now here is the part of the week that genuinely surprised me. I have been transcribing my real business calls and feeding them into the content ideation system. Not as a gimmick, as a serious source of raw material. The insight is straightforward. The best content I make comes from real problems I actually faced, real conversations I actually had, real decisions I actually made under pressure. not from sitting down and asking myself, what should I talk about today? So I started pulling transcripts from my actual founder meetings, calls with partners, strategy sessions, and running them through what I am calling the Prime.Brain's ideation corpus. The system reads the transcripts, finds the moments with real tension or insight, and surfaces them as real candidates. This week, I added a step where the system can also grab screenshots from screen share calls, not just audio transcripts, so the full context of a meeting makes it into the ideation layer. A call with a partner this week included a screen share with real data on it. That visual context matters for understanding what was actually being discussed. The thing I keep coming back to is that most content creators manufacture their stories after the fact. They sit down, think about what sounded interesting, and reconstruct it. I am doing the opposite. I am capturing the raw material in real time and letting the system find the story inside it. The content gets better, and I spend less time trying to remember what was worth saying. There were a few other fixes this week that I want to name quickly, because they compound. I found that my caption burn step was not verifying its output. It would run, claim success, and sometimes the captions just were not there on the final video. No error, no flag, just missing. Added output verification, so the step cannot call itself done unless the captions are actually present in the file. I found a pronunciation issue where the word upfront was being read by the voice model as two stressed syllables with a weird pause. Fixed it by preemptively splitting it into upfront everywhere it appears, automatically. Small thing, but if your AI voice sounds robotic on a common word, the whole clip feels off. I found that the emotion was being stripped from dub clips because the system was accent pinning the voice after a voice swap, which flattens the delivery. Remove the accent pin on voice swapped lanes, so the emotion stays in the performance. I found dead air at the end of clips where the mouth was still moving after the line ended. Trimmed it. Clean endings matter. None of these are individually dramatic. Together, they are the difference between a content machine that feels polished and one that feels like it was assembled by someone who never watched the output. Watch your own output. Every week. That is where the real bugs are. The thing I keep thinking about as I close out this week is what the system looked like on Monday morning compared to Sunday night. On Sunday night, I had stuck renders, cut off clips, missing captions, a pronunciation glitch, dead air at the end of shots, and a mic gate that was dropping hardware from the frame. On Monday morning, after a week of focused fixes, the system retries its own transient failures, caps script lines before they can create cutoffs, sizes plates to the actual content, verifies its own output, and cleans its own dead air. I did not build that in one heroic session. I built it by watching what broke, going upstream to where the break was born, and closing the loop. The autonomous workforce does not mean you set it and forget it forever on day one. It means you build toward a system that handles more and more of its own failures without you. Every week, the circle of things that can fix itself gets wider. This week, that circle got wider. And the week I stop finding things that need fixing is the week I stop looking hard enough.